We're good to go, mate. You got a blue mug as well.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god. No way. Don't drink out of
I'm
that, Jimmy.
fucking.
I don't care.
I've
I don't
got.
care. Look at this. You got
That's,
blue wall and everything.
I know, but this isn't my room. This is just like where all my shit is because like my room's got really bad lighting
As
because
you
the walls are
as
like
as
brown.
you have you got a the walls are brown. I was gonna say the walls in your room best be bright red. Red in
I've
your
got
room.
like United scarves and posters and shit hung up, so it's maybe. But there's also a lot of Hibs stuff, so it maybe
Oh no.
crossover.
Oh god. Oh yeah, go on. Yeah, we're ready,
All
mate.
right, let's go for it. Hello and welcome back to the United Embassy. My name is Struan Garvey and I'm once again joined by Harry Williams. Today we're going to be previewing our fixture against Wolves at the weekend, but before we get into that, we're going to talk about the Champions League, which on the day of recording this Friday, were drawn yesterday. We are currently in a group, we were pot number 2, and we've been drawn with Villarreal, Atalanta, worrying, and Young Boys. Harry, what are your thoughts on the group? Because on paper, I was quite happy that we avoided the big hitters, but at the same time, I'm still a wee bit nervous about who we've been drawn with.
My thoughts were pretty simple. I mean, Villarreal. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's time to go get revenge and all that good stuff." But perfectly honest, if anything, it worries me. I think the fact we have somewhat a group which we're expected to win almost makes me more nervous than a scenario which we had a team which we're at least expected to compete against. Um, I can see a few slip ups, but to be honest, we should make it through the group quite easily. Young boys shouldn't pose a single threat. Um, Atalanta should realistically be more of a threat than Villarreal, but Villarreal, as they should in the Europa League final, can cause issues, and if dealt with properly, we should probably top this group. But if not, it can cause issues for ourselves.
I think one thing with Villarreal that I'm a bit more confident now is the fact that it's going to be over 2 legs. And in the Europa League final, we did draw with them. Do you know what I mean? Like on another day, we could win that game. It just came down to penalties. So if we're at Old Trafford, I think we can get that. I expect the 2 games against Villarreal to be boring as anything. I expect about 3 goals between the 2 games, and I think I'm being generous with that. In all honesty, against Atalanta though, I'm not really sure because they use that man marking system that leads to it, and we've been really good against that in the Premier League with Ollie. So I'm a bit intrigued to see how we get on against them because as James Horncastle always says, watch Atalanta during the Champions League, and we're unfortunately going to have to do it twice, but. Also, young boys, as we say, I don't want to take them for granted. You know, you always look at the fourth pot or the fourth seed in the team in your group stage and think, yeah, we should win home and away there. I'm a bit skeptical. They've scored quite a lot of goals in qualifying, but at the same time, we should have enough to get through that. So, yeah, I mean, compared to last year where we had Leipzig and PSG, my my head was buried in my hands last year at seeing the group, whereas this year I'm a bit more confident than I was prior. So yeah, I expect us to get out of the group. To be honest, I will be very disappointed if we once again finish third, and it's another season in the Europa League. Because if we go into the Europa League, we'll probably draw Ajax straight off the bat, or whoever the best team in the Europa League currently is, because that's what we do. In fact, also I should mention that in the League Cup we've been drawn against West Ham United. In comparison, Man City got Wickham. Yep.
Classic City luck. I mean, to be fair,
So
we can't moan because they've had our Champions League group. But in terms of
yeah,
our
they
luck,
got our Champions League group. They got
yeah,
Leipzig and
yeah,
PSG this year.
yeah. So it's kind of turns the table. Wait, what?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it amounts to, but also they got the Belgian champions and Club Bruges. So
yeah.
that's a very interesting group. So
I think Young Boys finished in the Swedish league, is it? Not Swiss league. Sorry, not Swedish.
um, I think they maybe won because I don't know if Basel are actually in the Champions League. I
Have they
think
got
I
an
think Young
artificial
Boys did.
pitch?
They did when we played them last time when Pogba scored that screamer on his left foot. That was one of Pogba's best performances in the United shirt. Oh,
It's against Young
that
Boys,
was
man. It shouldn't
unbelievable.
even be classed, to be honest.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult
Wow.
because I remember we were in the same group as them the year we drew Valencia and Juventus. I remember that was when we had young boys under Jose Mourinho when 2 years ago when Solskjaer, well, 3 years ago when Solskjaer first came in. So yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting one. I expect us to get out of that group, but at the same time, after last season beating PSG and Leipzig in the opening 2 fixtures to then lose to Istanbul Basaksehir, I am not taking anything for granted with this United team this time in the Champions League. But we'll see. We've got Wolves at the weekend, and coming into this game, we've got the chance to break the Premier League away undefeated record, which is pretty cool, to be honest. I think that's something that we're not really paying much attention to because things haven't been the best on the pitch, especially after last week. But yeah, we are very close to breaking Arsenal's record, of course, the invincible teams. So, just what are your thoughts coming into this game on the back of that Southampton defeat? Because we've both summed up our thoughts on what we made of that, and I think the United community as a whole has definitely had their voices heard on that one.
Um, the way I feel about coming to this Wolves game is a lot of anxiety. I'm very scared for sort of our midfield being completely dominated. I mean, Neves and Coutinho and um, is Potence back for this game? I think he is back for this game, right? It's just they have quality in areas which I think we might be exploited in, and especially if they play their usual. Well, they did play back five under the new manager. I don't even know the new manager's name. I'll be completely honest. Like, I don't know his name. What's his name?
Um, Bruno Angie, is that it?
No,
No.
it's something like that. It's like, yeah. Anyway, if they exploit our midfield well with the Fratic midfield, then I don't want to talk about it, and I will bury my head in the sand, and it will just be a case of us trying to exploit whatever chances we can get up to the. I mean, if we give the front four the ball, we're in a situation where we're probably going to do well. If we don't give the front four the ball, there's no point turning up. There just isn't, and it'll just be a Luke Shaw as the only outlet to the entire front four, and that's going to hurt me.
I am very worried about our midfield pivot. Of course, Scott McTominay has recently undergone minor surgery, so he's going to be out for around a month, it seems, which means our midfield pivot options are now, with Pogba playing on the left, going to be Matic and Fred, who, against Southampton, definitely didn't impress anyone. I remember in the 0-0 against Crystal Palace last season, I absolutely hated it. I thought there's just no creativity in that midfield. I think the only defence that they'd open up is our own one, which worries me a lot because I think individually they're good players, but I really don't like it at all. I mean, I'm craving McFred again, which is absolutely ridiculous. But for this game, we saw last season against Wolves in the final game of the season. It was Donny and Matic. Now I know that was sort of a throwaway game in that we were playing a totally changed team, saving players for the Europa League final. But do you think this could be a chance for Donny to come into the team now that Scott McTominay has been injured? A lot of people see Donny as a Bruno backup and possibly in that front quartet, the front four positions and not the pivot. But do you think this is an opportunity for him now to come into the team? Because the way I see it, against Wolves, we're going to have the majority of the ball, even though we're the away team. We can't sit with two deep playmakers because all Wolves need to do realistically is mark Jadon Sancho, presuming he starts, and mark Bruno, mark Pogba, and then they've got us basically.
Yeah, I think Donny Van de Beek probably should start this game. And I was thinking about this all day, especially after the Southampton draw. We have this sort of front four now where, as I alluded to, if you give them the ball, they will create chances. Pogba and Bruno aren't going to necessarily like make nothing from a game. It's more than likely, even if they have bad games each other, they'll make one or two great chances per game. The only issue is supplying them the ball, and it's almost a situation where just before Bruno Fernandes signed, we moaned number 10, we don't have a number 10, we don't have a number 10, no creativity to the front four, front three, we've got nothing. And then now we have the number 10, and we have no one to supply the ball to the number 10, and it's just a continuous loop of we're always one step away and never there. Should we play Donovan Van de Beek? I think yes, just because he should play in the deep line midfield role, even if he doesn't, even if he just plays like next to Matic and Matic just simply doesn't move from the back three, from the back four. I'd prefer having that than having and being a little more defensively exposed than having literally no supply to the front four. There's no point turning up to a football game with no attention to score goals. And to be honest, um, out of all the players available, Danny Van der Beek in that lower role would probably be the best. As well, his ability to run into the box late, especially in a team which simply holds on to the ball when they can. When they get access to a ball, they won't throw it away. They don't do that. And when they, if we can exploit any sort of stealing of the ball, if we can exploit the fact that we have four players in the box and they'll try and mark that four cut passing lanes, any sort of player who's going to make runs into dangerous areas and get a shot off in the box, late runs onto the edge of the box and before hitting the ball, or even just recycling possession on the edge of the box before it manages to get out to their attacking players will be of benefit to Manchester United. And I don't see Fred or Matic doing that because they're both simply bad.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly put there. It's Bruno Laga is the name of the manager, just for
Is it?
context previously. Yeah, I think you have to play Donny in a game like this. As you say, we might be a bit defensively weak, but that's why we've brought Varane in. You know what I mean? If we sacrifice a defensive midfielder but bring in one of the best centre backs in world football, you'd have to say that's better for the team overall. And I feel I'd love to just see Matic because when we played the preseason friendly against Everton and we won 4-0, fair enough, it's a preseason friendly, take it with a handful of salt. But Matic sort of dropped in to make a back three, and Donny was that in that 3-1-6 formation that we kind of played, feeding the attackers really. And I feel that's something that we can definitely do against Wolves. We know the way they played with Nuno. They just sat back, and they were one of the worst teams to play from a Manchester United point of view. I hate playing Wolves, and I hope this is a bit of a different Wolves team who are not just going to sit back and defend. I mean, Wolves have still to score a goal this season. They were defeated by Leicester in the opening game to a single Jamie Vardy goal. They then lost to Tottenham Hotspur. So they're just as badly needing a start as we're needing to get back up on our feet after the annoying draw to Southampton. But as I previously alluded to there, do you think Varane definitely starts this game? Because I think Sancho, I think he is starting. I don't think there's a debate over Sancho now. I think he will get the nod in this game, a combination of he's been working his way up to full fitness. Martial was terrible against Southampton. I can't imagine he keeps his place. And I don't really think it's the sort of game for Dan James. In a defence that we need to cut open, I don't really think Dan James is going to do that. I think Sancho is possibly ideal in this scenario, especially when we're probably going to be playing Greenwood up front and we may have Edison Cavani on the bench.
Um, I don't think Varane will play, to be honest. It will start anyway, to be honest. I think Varane would probably suit the game, but like Ole has alluded to before, and said that he needs to give people time to adjust and get ready for the Premier League football and have training with us for a certain amount of time. I think he'll just go with Lindelof again. It's a tried and trusted partnership. I mean, I said that against Southampton, not going to happen. Hopefully, Maguire isn't a shit.
It's seldom Maguire has a bad game, and he had one against Southampton, and I just feel it was the worst time because so many other people in the team were having a bad game, and you think Maguire never drops a stinker, and De Gea was good though, made a good save.
He made a good save, yeah. He kept us in the game. Let's be completely honest. David De Gea in that game, even though he was what I thought had PTSD from. I'm still annoyed by the Southampton result, if you can't tell. Even if he clearly had PTSD from when he injured himself last season, because if you watch it, every cross that came in, every shot from General Prowse, he punched, didn't catch a single one of them. There was a cross in the box at one point, and he could have caught it, and he punched it out, and it started a counter attack, which is perfectly fine, but it wasn't on purpose. It was a thing of get the ball out because I don't want to be near it, and even though he did make a good save, so I can't slander him too much. Back to the Wolves game. Yeah, I think Varane won't play, even though the game just suit him. And if we do play Donny van der Beek, we probably should play Varane as well. I think it takes so much pressure off Wan-Bissaka to make recovery challenges, especially when they've got Podence, Adama. There's Adama ready for this game. I don't even know what's
I
going on.
think
Is
so.
Jimenez ready?
Yeah, Jimenez is back to full fitness. They've also got Trincao who arrived from Barcelona, who's a player. So there's a lot of talent in that front line. You never really saw it under Nuno because they played such boring defensive football, but they've got some really, really good players up front. I think Neto is still out, which is a good thing for Manchester United, of course. But that midfield, if you're telling me it's Fred and Matic versus Moutinho and Neves, I am terrified of Moutinho and Neves running that midfield. In all honesty,
Well, they will. Like simply, Fred doesn't have the on-ball qualities that neither of those players do. Matic, I think, does have on-ball qualities, but he's so physically outdated now. Was outdated the right word? He's physically just
yeah, I would say
outworked
is.
than those two. I mean, Moutinho is not far off Matic's age, and I would take Moutinho over Matic 100%.
Moutinho's older than Matic, which
Oh
is
God.
crazy. And he is still one of the better midfielders in the Premier League. That's the thing. Matic is 33, and although that seems old, it shouldn't really be the end of a career. I mean, Fernandinho was the best holding midfielder in the league at that age, and he's still doing bits. I just feel Matic is one of these players who has just been declining for quite a few years, and he really is just losing his legs. That's why I think if he can just drop into a back three, I think that suits him perfectly because then he's got Maguire and Varane around him. If Donny can just do all the midfield work, Matic can just sit and just pick up the ball, plays a sweeper really. So
Or Mane play the sweeper role as long as Donny's there, but I think if it's Fred and Matic, I'm stressed today because Matic has this very off the ball defending style where he's going to cut passing lanes and intercept passes and make last minute challenges, like nick the ball just as they're about to shoot. Whereas Fred has constant pressing style where he doesn't give the midfielders or attackers much time to really get on the ball, and it just completely contradicts each other. And
Yeah,
therefore, I'm going into this game now, and the more I'm speaking, the more I'm nervous. Um,
it's
yeah,
not good, is it?
it's not necessarily great.
What we've learned, I think, under Solskjaer's time is that Matic will either have a really good game and you think he can still do this, he's still got it, or he'll have a terrible game in which he's completely past it. And I am very much hoping that this weekend he has a very good game because at the end of the day, I'm not confident at all. But what's your predicted 11 overall? Obviously, we've talked about Fratic, which I think is a fantastic name for the pivot that we could see. I think it's a lot better than McFred. But what's
Frawny.
your predicted 11?
Uh,
Brawny. Manny. I want to see Manny in the midfield, to be honest.
yeah, I wish, mate. No, David De Gea, Luke Shaw, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof. Predicted. So not what I want. Predicted. Fred and Matic.
Yeah.
Um, right wing Sancho, left wing Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and Mason Greenwood. As I alluded to in the should Mason Greenwood be our number 9 by May? He's a better, and especially in the Southampton preview reaction. He's a better striker than Martial now.
He's a better player than Martial now.
Yeah, and
I would say that.
Which
So, do
one
you know
has
the
the
goal?
golden boy? Which one has the golden? Which one's got the Ballon d'Or clause? I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Which one's in the French team? Martial actually has been called up to the France squad, so quite congratulations. That is actually a really good achievement for Martial. But I just think, do you know the goal that Mason Greenwood scored against Leeds, where he runs with the ball in the left wing and he has the composure to finish that? I just don't see Martial scoring that.
No,
I
no, it
just,
doesn't. No, it
I
doesn't.
think Martial,
Simply
he's
doesn't.
not a striker. I just don't think he's a natural number 9. But my predicted lineup is the exact same, but just to be a little bit different, I'll stick Varane in over Lindelof. Just because I think there's so much pressure currently on Ollie at the moment from the fan base after last week. When I saw the lineup against Southampton, I was just instantly worried, and it was no other reason than just seeing Fred and Matic in the midfield. And I think he's going to play those two again, and I feel in order to get a little bit of faith back from the fans, he's going to play Varane in this game, which possibly is rushed too quickly. Possibly he's ready or not. I would love to see Don and Matic, but I think it's going to be Fred and Matic. And for that reason, I am a little bit worried. But what's your predicted score for this game then?
Without being a negative Nancy, I'm gonna say 1-0 Manchester United, just because I don't see it being a high scoring game. Unless it's a sort of game where you clearly see the players were aggravated by the 1-1 draw against Southampton and they use it as like a game to bounce off. I see sort of like a situation where we're going to really struggle to supply the ball to the front four. We're just going to outclass the midfield, and therefore we're going to win with the defence and the attack, and it will be as simple as that. I think midfield is completely outclassed, and as you can tell by my attitude towards it, I really hate it. I was going to use another word there, but I really, really hate it.
No disrespect to Wolves, they are a good team, but I think that's absolutely terrible when we're saying that Man United are going to lose the midfield battle to Wolves. Man United should be competing for the title this
Well, they did
season,
to Brighton this
and
season.
yep, said against some people said against Southampton last week as well. Man United are going to lose the midfield battle. We can't afford to be saying that sort. So who do we win the midfield battle against then? The teams in League One, League Two. It's no
Brentford.
disrespect to Matic and Fred. Yeah, well, actually, I don't know. They've got some good midfield. Uh, Sheffield United. That would be a John Fleck. But I'm going to be a little bit pessimistic with mine. I'm thinking 1-1, and the reason for that being is what I saw against Southampton. I just think was a really really poor performance all round. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet because we still haven't. I am still a bit skeptical of De Gea at the moment. Made a really good save against Southampton, but he needs to leave his box. He needs to be a sweeper. It's infuriating me at times when the
Insanely
defensive
hesitant.
line has to stay back and can't push up just because he's glued to the line. And I think he's a really technical goalkeeper. I really do. I think his passing's actually quite good, but I just think he needs to be a bit more brave. But at the same time, can you teach an old dog new tricks? He's 31 in November. It's a bit difficult.
That's
But
true.
yeah, I think 1-0, and I think we're going to go behind again. I think this is going to be another case of we start slow
Mm.
and we'll be punished for it, which has been a common theme for the last 3 years, is that we just start so slow to these games. Last season, we were absolutely ridiculous at the start of games, and as I said, with this midfield battle, I'm a little bit worried as to how we may get overrun quickly, and the way we're just gonna have to, we're just putting ourselves up against it really if we do go 1-0 down early. So, but I'm trying to be positive. I'm hoping I'm very badly wrong in this one and we do win it 1-0. But yeah, I've gone. So we're doing it 2-1 or 3-0, anything like that. Clean sheet would be absolutely massive at the start of the season, but only time will tell this Saturday. Have you got any other thoughts about this game?
Um, I know. I pretty much just summed up when I said the midfield's shite.
Yeah, it's so weird. As of the time of recording, the transfer window is still open for a little bit of time. Doesn't look like we're going to be pulling in a midfielder. I previously tweeted out from our account on my thoughts about the Saul transfer.
I know.
I don't think that's a good idea at all for Man United. I think
If it was a
he's
loan with
in
an option to
decline.
buy, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think if it were to be a loan, it wouldn't be too bad. But for me, he's not a number six. You know, there's no point in signing somebody who can play number six, but really is a
But he
box to
doesn't
box
want to.
midfielder. He played left back.
He doesn't want to. Like the whole
So,
reason Diego Simeone wants to get rid of him is because he no longer wants to play the defensive role.
yeah. If Simeone wants to get rid of a player, I'm instantly worried because that Atletico Madrid team is so compact. He's just so talented all over the pitch. He gets the best out of everybody. And if he doesn't want to play you, I'm a bit worried. I look at Ruben Neves, who we're obviously going to be coming up against. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to be bringing in a midfielder. So obviously, we wish Scott McTominay all the best and a speedy recovery because we really need you back, which is something
We
that
actually
not
do.
many United fans will want to admit. But we do need Scott McTominay back into that midfield as soon as possible. But yeah, I think that's all from me today in the prediction. Um, how are you going? Anything else?
No, stressed.
We will have a
Maybe I'm
video
being too
coming out soon.
reactionary. Maybe I'm being too reactionary.
It's
Maybe I'm a bit annoyed about the Southampton
it's
thing.
difficult not to. It's been a tough week for Manchester United, of course, after the
Fuck
result against
Ronaldo.
Southampton. Seeing, yeah, I was going to say we possibly will have a video coming out on Ronaldo in the future if he does do
The unthinkable.
something revolving a transfer, which would not be nice from a Manchester
No.
United point of view. Messi is the goat. I'll just make that point clear. However, yep, we
Oh,
will possibly more likely having a video coming out on that if things do happen the way they seem to be. So yeah, get ready for that one, and good luck to Man United at the weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Fuck Ronaldo, man.